This just might be my favorite version of an amazing couple's fifth wheel. Stick around and I'll show you why. So let's get right into it. This is a rear kitchen floor plan that is set up extremely well. Great for couples. I mean, it's perfect for two people. You have theater seating across from your entertainment center, just like you want. You have additional seating in case you have friends, guests that come over. And as a couple, chances are that is going to happen. Plus, you have a nice big kitchen where you can prep food, make snacks, make meals. And this is not the first one of these, right? It's not like Cougar is the first one to make it. By the way, we're in a 2024 Keystone Cougar 29 RKS. I should probably get that out there. Great. They call it half-ton fifth wheel. I would debate it's half-tonnable, but a fifth wheel nonetheless. But the reason that I really like it, there's a couple things that really kind of set this one, I guess, a step above some of the others. One of them is just going to be the colors in general. I really like what they've done. I think, having the nice bright cabinets here. I like the thermal-formed countertops. I like the fact it's a little bit darker, kind of like a gray. And then you have like some darker browns. The other thing, one of the other things I really like, take a look at this. This entire slide is basically all window. I love that. I'm a big fan of bringing in a lot of light. And in this floor plan, when your campsite is mostly entertainment center, you have to have that window. You have to be able to bring in a lot of light because it's not coming from this side. And I think this accomplishes it very well. A lot better than most because you have much larger windows. The other thing, I guess, that kind of, again, helps really raise the bar is some of the Keystone exclusives that Cougar has. And I'm gonna go over a couple of these with you. I'll kind of walk and talk just so you can see the floor plan a little bit because this is gonna get a little lengthy, but this is important because sometimes it's the things you don't see where the value is. One of those is gonna be the floor itself. You have a hyperdeck floor underneath this linoleum, and what that means is it's a composite. Very similar to Asdel. If you have been in the RV world for a while and you know what Asdel is, it's kind of similar to what they use in the floor. And the big advantage of that is it's lighter weight. You're not gonna have off-gassing. It actually has better screw retention than wood laminated products, and it's not going to absorb water. So the hyperdeck floor is amazing. The other one is going to actually be the opposite. We're going to take a look at the ceiling. Not only is there great lighting, which again, as I mentioned earlier, I like to have a lot of great lighting and bright lights, but take a look at this AC, okay? The Blade AC system is just fantastic. It's so far beyond what a lot of other manufacturers are doing. Let's talk about why. So this is a Coleman Mach system. If you take a look right there, you will see a residential filter. That is awesome. If you've never had to do any maintenance on an AC, if you're new to the RV world, generally it is just a little piece of foam. It's about this thin. It's this little gray thing. You take it out, you rinse it, you dry it, you put it back in. Honestly, it's not stopping a whole lot of anything. That is actually going to stop some particulates. It will actually give you cleaner air, and you can change it out with a brand new one. Love that that is in there. On top of that, you also have the Blade, as I mentioned, the Blade AC system right here. That's going to be a couple different things. This vent does 360-degree cooling. It cools this entire space. It's not going to be a single vector like the rest of them are where it blows straight toward you. Now, yes, if it's a single vector, it's great if you stand right underneath it. Pretty much anywhere else, it doesn't help. That 360 cooling is going to do a better job of cooling off this space. Plus, up in that ceiling where they have all of your duct work, you're gonna have thermoplastic duct joiners. And essentially what that is, normally on these systems, they take pieces of ductwork, they put them up against each other and they tape them. And that is how the system stays together. If ever anything were to, come apart or, anything, it ever separates, that tape, from condensation and things, decides not to have as much adhesion as it normally does. Now you have a bunch of air that's just leaking into your attic, and that's not something you want to have happen. So with this system, not only does it help them stay together, it also helps them, prevents them from being crushed. So just some of those things, take a great floor plan and really elevate it to one of my absolute favorites. Now let's kind of get back into the floor plan a little bit. Again, if you haven't seen this floor plan, this layout, as I mentioned, it is just one of my favorite for a couple. You have great storage in here. I mean, you have, 3 drawers. The reason they don't have one here, just for your knowledge, is because the sink is in the way and it's pretty pointless. But right down underneath here, you can see that you have pretty good drawer space. The other thing they do well is they don't waste any space. Look at this. You have 2 larger drawers right in here. they give you this tool. What is this, you ask? This is a manual override on the slide if it ever fails. One of the other things that Cougar is very good about is troubleshooting. So they have that so that you can manually retract the slide. They have color-coded and numbered electrical wiring. So in the event that you ever have to do any electrical work, not only is it easy to trace and follow because it's all the same color, but in the event that you ever need to call in, it's easier to troubleshoot over the phone. Same thing if you take it in. Now a tech knows exactly what they're looking at because they took the steps in the beginning to make that happen. Taking a look underneath, we look underneath this sink, you can see there's space for a trash can. That's another one of those for me that is a huge win. Folks, if you're new to RVing, it's one of those things you don't think about. You don't want your trash can hanging off a pole. You want it to be hidden. You don't want your trash out. That's gross. It stinks. And so I like having a place to hide it. The countertop itself, not only do I like the color of it, I like the material. It is a thermoform. While yes, I do prefer a true solid surface, in all honesty, I do. The nice thing about a thermoformed countertop is that it's lighter weight than a solid surface, and it still allows you to undermount like a solid surface does, which is why we have the undermount sink. And that is way easier for cleanup, plus it looks just a whole heck of a lot nicer than a top mount, in my opinion, and well, most other people's opinion as well. But double stainless steel bowl right down there, high-rise pull-out faucet here too. 3-burner cooktop over to the side that is recessed. You have the oven right down below, and then you have more prep space right over here. So you get all this prep space, and for the record, in case you're wondering, you have outlets built right into the walls right here. The reason that they build them in the bottom of the cabinets instead of in the walls a lot of times is because this is a laminated unit. And so rather than routing out the insulation to install an outlet, they put them here so you're able to keep that full insulation. So you do have plenty of outlets there though for any additional appliances or anything you want to hook up. And speaking of appliances, you can actually have a place to store them. In a lot of RVs, when we look at kitchens, you don't have a place to store, for example, an air fryer, right? I like to take an air fryer. I can actually store it in here. You have a blender, you can actually store it in here. So that's pretty great. Storage up top there as well, and over to the side is our Furion 12-volt refrigerator, 10.7 cubic foot. That is 2.7 cubic foot than what most have had in the past, which are normally 8. Then over to the side, you have the pantry, plenty of pantry space. Now, you know, you will see that because of the slide fascia up top, this top one doesn't open up all the way. I will tell you, I've been in a lot of these floor plans and every single one is the same. This just doesn't open completely, but the bottom one does do a good job. And again, you have a very large storage space down there. So if you do have some of those bigger items, you have a place to put them. You'll also notice magnetic catches. That's gonna be a big one too. I'm personally a big fan of a magnetic catch. I'd much rather have that than have the ones where it kind of clips in. I don't even know the proper name for them. You basically have 2 rollers and a little clip goes in between and it's not great. Anyway, over in the slide out on this side, because you do have dual opposing slides in this living area, which is why it's so big, you can see that you have your standalone table and chairs. 4 chairs here makes it great so guests can sit down. You have more room than a standard dinette. And again, because we're not looking to maximize sleeping space, I personally prefer freestanding table and chairs over a dinette. That's one I want your opinion on. If you've been RVing or you've been looking for RVs, do you like having the booth more than freestanding table? Do you like the freestanding table? I'm genuinely curious because I talk to people about it and I've heard it kind of go both ways. So let me know in the comment which one you prefer. That way I can kind of pass it on to the manufacturers. I think this is the right choice, but if you're like, no, Ian, I like a dinette, I want to know. Right next to that's theater seating. You can't fight me on this one. This is the best seating in an RV. There's no other question. This is hands down the champion. That's gonna be right across from your entertainment center, exactly where you want it. You don't have to turn your neck. And I know that, again, we don't go RVing to watch TV, but inevitably it is going to rain. We're gonna have encounter some weather. We don't wanna be outside, and that's where we wanna sit. Fireplace underneath. This not only looks nice, but this is a 5,500 BTU electric heater. So as long as you have shore power or a generator, that does kick out some heat. And then storage all around that as well. On the windows, we do have roller shades. That's worth mentioning just because they work well. They're easy to use. You don't have to mess with, you know, any kind of tensioners or anything like that, or like paper blinds. You got a big mirror there. I don't know. I don't love it or hate it. It's just a mirror. Personally, I don't know. I'd probably take it down and put up artwork, I guess, you know, but I like that better than just having a blank wall. It looks nicer. Right down underneath is the sofa. So this is what I was talking about. This will be your additional sleeping space if you do have guests. It is a tri-fold sofa. I'll show you real quick how to make it pretty comfortable. If you've seen a tri-fold, you can fast forward for 10 seconds and I'll be done here. But you simply pull it out like that. You have the legs, extend them, drop it down, and then you'll drop this part down just like so. Now this one is up against the wall, so it's not like your pillows or anything are gonna fall behind. You can just, you know, slap a sheet on there the best you can, put some pillows there, blanket, good to go. Now you have a place where your guests can sleep. And again, because I often entertain, I like having a spot people can stay the night if I like them and I want them to stay. That is key. Coming up the stairs, couple things. You will see that you have the handrails, just gives you that little bit extra, right? Just to make sure you're not gonna fall, especially if it's in the middle of the night. And you get the in-command system. Now this is one, bear with me, there is a lot of, I will say, questionable not command systems, but overall main controls, how's that, in RVs. This is not one of them. This one is fantastic. When you touch a button, it actually works the way it's supposed to. It's easy to use. Out of all of them, this is probably the best in my opinion. The other thing I like about it, especially on a day like today where I'm sweating and I wish I could turn it on, is this right here, the fact that you have a programmable thermostat. I can actually set a schedule, start time, stop time. I can have that thing kick on and off, which is fantastic. And if you have Wi-Fi, you can actually use your phone to control that. So what's that mean to you? Well, that means that you can be at home and before your 2-hour trip to your seasonal where you have this unit, you can turn on the AC and when you get here, it'll be cold. That's pretty darn cool. And to my knowledge, Cougar is the only one that has that generation of in-command that you can do that. As we take a step into the bathroom, porcelain bowl, good space, plenty of leg room here, linen closet, so a place for towels, everything else I need. Speaking of towels, can hang my wet ones up right there. And, well, no one's gonna get in from this side. Let me move this. For the record, it's just there because the travel lock is here. So that way it's not opening and closing as you're going down the road. But when I step in the shower, I have plenty of room. Even if I'm sideways, you know, I have space to actually maneuver, which is great. You can see the seat. So if you need to put, you know, soap, shampoo, whatever there you can. You have a few shelves here as well. That just gives you a little extra space. Or again, if you need to sit down, shave your legs, it's an awesome place for it. Another thing I do want to talk about, this control right here is going to be for your on-demand water heater. So you have essentially limitless hot water because that one will heat it up that quick. So no, you know, gone are the days of having to, you know, take a military shower, as my dad used to call it. Now you can just enjoy those showers just like you're at home. Storage all the way around the bed, both up top and down below. Nightstands there. You can see USB ports, electrical outlets. And you will also notice that a lot of these electrical outlets have a yellow sticker that says they are inverted. That means that they are pre-wired in case you get the inverter, because it's prepped for an inverter, you can get it, and those ones will be inverted. A couple other things I want to hit on the bedroom real quick, and then we'll head outside. One of them is the fact this is prepped for a second AC. So if you want an AC here in the bedroom to make sure you stay nice and cool, you can definitely do that. Another one, I do just want to show you height because there is a step right here. Okay, that's one of the things I don't love. You know, there's a lot I do like. There's a few things that aren't perfect, and this is one of them. You have to watch that step, especially if it's the middle of the night. You don't want to fall. You don't want to trip coming up. And when I step up on that step, I do have to duck down a little bit to be able to get into the bed. And I'm about 6 foot tall, just to give you a general idea. Over to this side is your slide out wardrobe. Great hanging space, of course, plenty of drawers there. And there's TV hookup here in case you want TV in the bedroom. Last thing I want to touch on before we head outside is just the storage under the bed. Open that up and you can see it is very good storage under there. So some of your larger items, that's an excellent spot to put them. All right, now let's talk a little bit about some of the outside features as well as a little bit of construction on the 2024 Cougar 29 RKS. We'll start right up front on the fully painted front cap with your LED lights. One of the big things here, don't get me wrong, most front caps are painted, but behind that front cap is going to be some added insulation. They actually have a radiant foil, and what that essentially does is help with some of the heat from the sun. So as it's hitting this, it will help reflect it, therefore keeping the bedroom a little bit cooler. As we drop down below that, we will see the sealed pin box with the Road Armor Kingpin. The Road Armor there is great because essentially it has a pivoting head, which will help take a little bit of that jerking feeling out as you are starting or stopping your tow vehicle. Dropping down underneath a little bit further here, we'll open this up if I can unlock it. There we go. And again, a couple things I like about Keystone products and what they have done here on the Cougar. So one of them is just the fact they have great cable management. That just, I don't know, something about it speaks to me. I just love how everything is out of the way and it's not just a hot mess. Also, you'll see the spare tire is located in here. While yes, it does take up some storage, and of course you can take it out and throw it anywhere, I like the fact that it's protected from the elements. It's going to be protected from UV rays, and so it'll be good for the full 5 years before we're supposed to replace our spare. Right over here is the battery box. Again, something that's an added cost to the manufacturer, something they didn't have to do, but they did, and I'm glad they did, is you will see that you have terminals on top of the box. So that way, if you need to access the battery, you want to disconnect the battery, you don't have to take every screw out of the box to make it happen. You can just disconnect it right off the top. You also see that you have not one, but 2 battery disconnects in here. This is your primary. Then right up here, we have one specifically for the solar, as this one does come standard with the Solar Flex 220 Protect. That gives you 220 watt solar panel up top, your 30 amp charger right here as well, and then that inverter prep I spoke about. You can upgrade that to a 440 if you so choose. We have 220 watt panels, or a 660L, which gives you a lithium battery and, shockingly, another 220 watt panel for 660 watts. But the fact that you have a battery disconnect for your solar panels is what I want to point out. That's the thing I really love. And why? Well, because normally, if you want to charge your battery disconnect has to be on. And on pretty much every other brand out there, that means while yes, power is coming in, you also have a little bit of drain coming out, because even if you turn everything off, it's still gonna have a small drain. But with this one, I can turn the main disconnect off, leave that solar panel one on, and I have power coming in and nothing coming out, and that is huge. Let's talk a little bit about propane. Not actually a whole lot to say other than the fact you have 2 30-pound tanks, and well, if you're camping in cold weather, you're gonna want bigger tanks, which is what it has. And speaking of camping in cold weather, as I mentioned, this one has Climate Guard, which allows you to camp in cold weather. Not only do you have that radiant foil for heat, you also have great insulation values and a fully enclosed and heated underbelly, plus you have 12-volt heated tank pads to make sure your tanks aren't going to freeze up on you, and your valves are insulated too, so you are good to go. Obviously, we have a little bit of stuff in here. Sorry about that. We're currently filming at a show, so we have some extra brochures. But it just kind of goes to show you how big this space really is. They do an excellent job. You don't have any vertical plumbing or anything running through here. It is super clean, love that. Plus, you have a little bit of grip right here so that things aren't sliding around on you. You'll also notice basically the brain box for the in-command system. That was what we had in there, that touch panel. But this right here I really like, because for whatever reason, right, we have a failure of the control panel. We do have manual switches out here, so we can still run those slides in and out. And if for whatever reason the slides won't work right here, you saw that tool I showed you inside, so you can hook that up to a drill and still be able to bring that slide in. That's what I'm talking about when I say that Cougar is thinking through that troubleshooting portion. You'll also see hookups right there for a TV outside. And again, as previously mentioned, you have the inverted outlet. Main entrance is pretty simple. You have the solid steps right here. You know, as the name implies, it is very solid. Plus the MORryde safety rail system. This is definitely going to be the newest, so to speak, safety rail, and it's probably one of my favorites. Why? It's just functional. It works. It's easy to put away. You just kind of hit it up like that as a magnet. It sticks. You'd pull this pin out and lock it back in, but then to deploy it, pull it like so, pull it out, it's good to go. And as you can see, it's not going anywhere. So that is definitely is something that's a little bit newer, and again, probably one of my favorites. Right up top is the power awning, LED light. Gotta have an awning. This one has it. That will go over the slide out right here. And you know, I know at first you're thinking, Ian, but they don't have a awning on the slide. Well, you don't really need it, because you have, well, 2 outside speakers, but that's not what I was gonna say, is the fact that you have this nice big door that opens up and basically acts as an awning for your gorgeous outside kitchen. It's exactly what you want. I mean, you have storage here for your cups, everything else. You have the outside fridge, plus you have a cooktop in there, plenty of space, electrical outlet. Again, basically just everything you want. Something that I don't want to forget because it's extremely important for whatever reason. I always forget this when I review Cougars, and I don't know why, but that's the fact you have auto level. And that's a big one, right? I love auto level. Touch a button, levels itself out. Super simple and easy to use, and it is the upgraded auto level. Believe it or not, there are two control systems. The one literally has a button. You push auto level. The other one, the one that Cougar has, and I can show you on the other side, it actually has manual controls. So in the event that you need to alter it a little bit because you're on a really big slant and the wheels are off the ground, you can do that. Outside shower with hot and cold water access, very easy to get to because it is on the campsite here. And take a look at that, fully utilizing everything. You have a little bit of storage right back there. That's definitely a win. Let's talk about a few things on this side, and then I'll kind of show you the wet bay on the other side. One of them is going to be the fact that you have a ladder to climb up onto the fully walkable roof, 250-pound weight capacity on there. You have backup camera prep. You'll also see your 50 amp detachable power cord plugs in basically right where the ladder is. And underneath you have a 300-pound accessory hitch receiver. So if you have a bike rack or something else you want to put in there, you can slide it right in. Now on the other side, as I mentioned, is that wet bay. It has all of your hookups for everything, your water. You'll see obviously there's a light over there, and the auto level control will also be in that pass-through very close to it. But as I mentioned, folks, this one right here is a great floor plan to begin with. The 29 RKS, that rear kitchen, perfect for couples. And this is probably one of my favorite for all the reasons I mentioned. Not only do I like the design, the function, the way it looks, but more importantly, I like the way it's built and how easy it is to troubleshoot. Now, if you're interested and you would like price and availability, simply click on the link in the description. As always, folks, thanks for watching. I'm Ian Baker. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments section. Otherwise, I'll see you next time.